Hey everyone, it's Shayna. I'm obviously doing something a little different today and I have my face here. You can actually see me, not just my hands. If you've read, obviously this video is about meetups. Kind of my history with meetups, what goes on at the meetups that at least I go to, how to set up your own meetup if you don't know of any in your area but you have like a group of people who wants to get together, and even like destash etiquette. Basically, I found a local group through Facebook, just a random Facebook search in, I think it was late 2017 or 2016, I forget the exact timing, but I spent an entire year planning to go to meetups, free meetups. They held like a free meetup every month and then one or two paid ones every year. And I spent an entire year building up the courage to go to a free meetup even. Like there was zero pressure, I didn't have to pay anything. I just had to drive there and play in my planner and meet new people. But I was so intimidated to go that I didn't go for an entire year. I was like, yeah, I'll go to this one. This one's close. Or even if it wasn't close, I was like, yeah, I'll go. And then the day of, I would completely chicken out and I wouldn't go. So finally, February 2018, they were gonna be holding a paid meetup. And I talked to my husband and I was like, I really want to go to one of these meetups and I really kind of want to go to this paid one. So he was like, okay, I will pay for you to go, but you have to go to a free meetup first. I was like, that's fair, you know, just so I can get acquainted with some of the people, you know. So the meetup was in February of 2018 and my first meetup that I went to was January of 2018. It was a free one, about 30 minutes for me. They hold them kind of all throughout the Twin Cities, but this one was about 30 minutes from me. I live above the city, so that was nice. It was closer, and I went, and I have gone to a bunch since. Like, I know that the meetup that I went to the first time I went there, I was so nervous because I am an extrovert when it comes to being with people I know, but I'm an introvert when it comes to people I don't know. So I was really, really scared. I was nervous. I was anxious. I second guessed myself the entire drive. I sat in the parking lot for a while thinking, should I even go in? I finally decided to go in because I had the reassurance of other people that were there that I had kind of talked to in the Facebook group on and off, that it would be fine and that they would come and talk to me and say hi and look at my planners and stuff. So I was like, it's gonna be okay. So I walked in and I got greeted with a resounding hello from everybody. And I sat down and put my stuff away. I introduced myself because people were asking who I was. And so I introduced myself and pretty much everybody was like, let's see your planners, you know, because we've seen each other's planners in the group or on Instagram. And so I was showing off my planners, and it's a really great way of making somebody feel welcome, is not only being like a resounding hello, who are you, but also just like, the thing we have in common is planners. So if somebody's comfortable with showing it, you know, the easiest way to make somebody feel comfortable is to go up and ask, well, for one, their name if you don't recognize them, and for two, to see their planner, because that's what we're there for, is to talk about our planners and to, well, not just necessarily our planners, because you can talk about other stuff too, but like, that's what brought us all together, was our planners. So, and it's so fascinating to see how everybody plans differently, even using the same products. So that was what made me feel most comfortable, was somebody came up to me, and I do believe it was actually Jess from Planner Lifestyle Podcast. She was, I think, the first person to come up to me and was like, let me see your planners. And she made me feel immediately comfortable. And I have been going to meetups ever since. And I left that meetup regretting the entire year of anxiety that I had and the year I missed out on meeting these people and finding friends who understand my hobby. And now, when somebody else has first-timer anxiety, that's what I tell them, is I spent an entire year being too anxious and scared to go. And the very first meetup I went to, it was a free meetup, no pressure. I could leave whenever I want. I could come and go whenever I wanted. And that meetup made me regret not going to any other meetup ever. So then, needless to say, by the time the February meetup came in, I was comfortable. I was fine. I walked in and I was like, as if I had been doing this for years, you know, like I was like, oh, no big deal. we're just gonna play in our planners or make crafts or whatever. We're gonna hang out. And it was a great time. And I've been, like I said, I've been going to free meetups since. And recently, as of April, I've only done 2, but I've actually started hosting my own free meetups. And it was super easy just because we've already kind of got places that we hit up for our meetups. So I just took that same one that I went to my first time. I basically have done meetups there. And it's at a local library, about half an hour from me, half an hour from most of the people in the cities. And it's really easy to just go to. You can find libraries, sometimes have free rooms, meeting rooms. I've gone to a meetup where it was actually at a grocery store that has meeting rooms. We've even gone to like Panera Bread. We've done a meetup at Panera. People have in local art stores. Like Michael has a room that you can even do a meetup in for free. There's tons of free options to be able to just get together with people who get it. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. It's just people who get it. Even if we don't plan the same, even if we're functional, decorative, somewhere in between, art journaling, bullet journaling, Erin Condren, traveler's notebooks, ring planners, what have you, the entire spectrum of planners can meet together and we all get it. We know why we're there. We all have this common thread, and it's so nice to be around people who understand your hobby, or even if it's not a hobby for you, who understand the way you keep your life together, you know? So it's just really nice to be around people like that. Some quick tips for somebody who it's their first time going. I can only speak for the meetups. I've been to the group that I am part of. I have been to a regional meetup. I went to Chicago Planner Conference, but that was only the one time. Otherwise, the meetups I go to are all local. I know the people now. I didn't before, obviously, but I know the people now, so I'm more comfortable. But just some quick tips for a first timer is just do it. Like, that's the best tip I can give you, is just do it. I know, I get it. It is really hard to go into a situation that you don't know with people you've never met in person and you've barely interacted with online. Even if you've interacted with them a ton and you consider them an online friend, it's really hard to meet somebody in person. So I understand that anxiety. I understand the nervousness. Obviously, anxiety and nervousness kept me away from these people for an entire year. But the best tip I can give you is to just go. Bring your planner supplies. I end up always bringing a tote, like one of the bigger Michael's totes, of a bunch of my planners, even the ones I'm not using at the time, a bunch of my planners. The one thing that I can tell you is that maybe bring something that you can do while you're there, because, you know, it obviously depends on the dynamic of the group that's actually at the meetup. Sometimes it's more quiet. Sometimes, and most likely for us anyway, we're not even touching our planners because we're all just getting to know each other or chatting with friends, like we're just talking or showing off our planners. So most of the time we don't even do anything. I barely ever get any planning done. I barely touch my planners except to hand it to somebody so they can look through it. So, I mean, there's that. I bring a whole tote worth of stuff. I have a lot of Foxy Fix planners, different kind of leathers and stuff like that. I have a bunch of samples and types of planners, so I like to bring a bunch of them because I know I'm a very visual person, so I want to see it in person. So I know if somebody has a question on like the Foxy Fix Sugar Mint leather, I've got 3 of them. So here, take a look, feel it, see it, smell it if you want, like hold it so you can see what it is before you decide if you want your own. Or if you want to see what pocket rings looks like. I have pocket rings, I have A6 rings, I have an Erin Condren, I have a bullet journal. Like, I have all these things that you can see and see if it's even what you want to begin with. So you don't have to, you know, spend the money on it to get it and then find out you don't like it. So I like to bring a lot of those things with me just to help other people out because I'm a very visual person, so I know there's other people who are. Obviously, you don't have to do that. You don't even have to show off your planner if you don't want. Like, if you've got confidential stuff in there you don't want and you haven't covered up, then don't show off your planner. I know of a person who has confidential stuff in their planner and they specifically cover it up for meetups so that they can hand it to somebody and have them look through it and not worry about their confidential stuff being seen. So just a few things to keep in mind, but you don't have to do any of them. If you just go and you want to sit by yourself and soak it all in, soak in the energy, get to know people even without really talking to them, and you just want to sit there, if that's what you need to do to be comfortable, then go do it. That's fine. We had somebody at a recent meetup who just kind of wanted to sit and observe. Okay, that's perfectly fine. You can sit, observe, and then, you know, if the next time you feel more comfortable, that's awesome. Like, all we want is for you to feel comfortable as a first timer. I even offered, and I didn't do it, but I should have. I offered to somebody who was really nervous about their first time. I was like, listen, I have been learning K-pop dances. If you need somebody to be more awkward than you, I can whip out some of these K-pop dances because I am an awful dancer, so let's do this. Like, I will always be the person who can be more awkward than you. So it's just, I feel like it's nice to have somebody who is willing to be more awkward than you just to make you feel comfortable. So I like to be that person now. But when I was going the first time, like, just having Jess there to come over and completely fawn over my planners was great. I did not tell her I was going to be talking about her in this video, so I'm going to have to tell her. The other thing is, some meetups, at least the meetups that we do for free, we do have like a destash table. So if you have stuff that you don't want to sell, isn't worth selling, you don't want to go through the hassle of selling, you can just bring it to the meetup and put it at the table, and people can take it if they want it, and it's basically free planner shopping. I have brought a lot of stuff to the destash table. I have taken a lot of stuff home from the destash table. There were quite a few meetups where I took home more than I brought in. But recently there's been a lot of meetups where I bring in more than I take home, which is super nice. But I guess the only thing I have to add about that is, I mean, obviously it depends on the specific group that you have, the specific meetup, who's doing it, what their requirements are, if they're even going to do a destash table. If they haven't specified, you can always ask. At least for what I found seeing a bunch of destash tables is try to bring things that are actually usable. This isn't garbage, it's not recycling. I mean, if it's not actually functionally usable anymore, don't bring it. If it's scraps where there's like 2 stickers left, probably don't bring it, just because it's gonna get lost in all of it and it's probably just gonna get thrown away anyway, so you're making somebody else throw away your garbage for you. So I guess just keep that in mind, that it should be still functional and not just thrown into a bag of random stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be super organized, but at least make it so it's not just a garbage dump of stuff. It's really hard, as somebody who has sorted through a bunch of random destash stuff, it's really hard to sort through it and get it together when we're trying to put it away and have people actually want to go look at it when there's just a bunch of essentially garbage in it. So just keep that in mind when you're bringing stuff to a destash table. I mean, you can find a bunch of different really great treasures at a destash table. What somebody may not want to spend the time selling, or it isn't really even worth selling, may be worth its weight in gold to you. Like, what if you weren't able to find the Target dollar spot adhesive pockets that have always been very popular, but somebody has a ton that they don't need and they put them in the destash pile? Suddenly now you have them. So it's really, really great. The other thing you can do, like, let's say if you're thinking about hosting your own and you want to have a destash table, is there are many organizations or schools even that will take that stuff from you as a donation. I know somebody, I don't know the specifics on it, but somebody in our group actually takes the destash stuff, goes through it, and then donates it to a local school for like crafts for, I think, special needs kids. They can have different kinds of crafts and things then. So it's really cool to be able to help out your community too, if you bring stuff in and maybe somebody doesn't take it, and then you can donate what you can to a local school or organization. So that's always something you could do too. The thing we were doing for a little bit too was we would just put the destash in a big plastic tote, and somebody would go home with it and bring it to the next meetup. And then that destash table would basically be full and you could bring more stuff, and we would try to keep it to just that tote. That only worked for so long, but it was an alternative as well. So hopefully that will help ease you a little bit on going to your first meetup or even hosting your first meetup. I say hosting because really all I did at the last two that I hosted were I walked in, and actually the first time I was late because of my own fault, it's the person that I am. The second time I was late because I got held up in traffic by an accident. So thankfully I had other people that were able to get the tables and the chairs set up at the library for us, and people were there to greet the new members or the people who were waiting. So when I got there, all I had to do was walk in. But normally, you know, when you host, you get there early, you set up the tables, the chairs, you check in, and then you're able to be there for the first few people that come in. And then obviously you usually would have to stay the whole time so that you can leave the room when they're ready, you know. At least the place we do ours at, the one that I host at, is you have to put the chairs away, put the tables away, and clean up the room before you can leave. And so obviously you're kind of the orchestrator of that, trying to get everything together. And I know at the meetups that we've done, everybody helps. Everybody chips in and puts chairs and tables away if they can. So that's always helpful too. But it's really, we try to keep ours pretty low stress. You come in, if you want to play with your planner, you play with your planner. If you want to sit and chat, you sit and chat. You can bring food into the place that we have. Like, you can come and eat your lunch and just hang out. Like, you can come in for 10 minutes and leave, or you can stay the entire time. It's pretty low stress. It's pretty chill. I really enjoy it because it's nice to just kind of have, it's basically having a hangout with your friends. I mean, that's really all we try to make ours as. So that's that anyway. I hope this helps you get the courage, I guess, to go to your first meetup. It is totally, totally worth it. To find a group of people that have the same interests as you is honestly really, really awesome to have. To have a group of people who just get what you're into. And when you talk about buying new stickers, you know, there's people who aren't in this community that are like, really, you bought stickers? Whereas the people who are like, ooh, what shop did you get it from? What kind of stickers did you get? You know, we try to be excited and supportive of each other, and that's, I think, one of the greatest things about this community. So I really hope that helped somebody. And I really thank you for watching this and for being here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you want to know when I post, hit the little bell for notifications. I will see you in the next video. Bye.